today we're going to finish the conversation of coverage families. So I ain't going to spend too much time talking. Without further ado, take it away, my brother.
All right, guys. So before we actually do coverage families, we got to explain and go through what is a coverage family. So if you listen to the opening one of Coverage 201, we had coverage philosophies. There were 4 of them. If you haven't, I'm going to put a spot right here so you can go back and click on it before you come back. Just go to that one and we'll come right back to it, okay? So what is a coverage family? Okay, so if the coverage philosophy is those 4, you think of it like a family tree, like an actual tree going down, like a tree of life type of thing. A coverage family is going to be directly under it, okay? It's going to tell you what type of coverage rotation you're going to get. It's going to tell you what type of philosophy that they're playing with. So whether it's man match, zone, and or zone match, and what principles that the coverage is played with, okay? That's the first thing. That's what a coverage family is. There's going to be a lot of them. Do not get bogged down by the couple of terms that you're going to hear and the different donations or rotations and things of that nature. We're going to get to them as we go along, okay? So the next thing that we need to cover is coverage rotations, okay? We have strong rotation, weak rotation, and a corner rotation. So if we were to take 2 safeties, and we're just going to denote them with S's for right now, and we're going to a strong, we call a tight left call, so we're in the strength left, and it's a strong rotation. The safety to the strength is rotating down. Doesn't matter if he's rotating inside of the box, outside into the apex area, into the flat, or anything like that. You could actually even be doing this if we do certain things. Okay, but he's the one's rotating. That's on a strong rotation. So for a weak rotation, it'd be opposite, obviously. So it's going to be this guy rotating down, this guy rotating inside, or this guy rotating over top. Okay, so there's going to be a lot of coverage families that are exactly the same in principles and in how you're going to play things and what type of coverages are called, except we're going to have different guys doing different roles because we're changing the rotation of the coverage. Okay? And then the last one's going to be corner rotation. So if I have 2 corners out here, and that's not drawn to scale, obviously, and they're my 2 guys that rotate down, for guys that have a little bit of prerequisite knowledge, like cover 2 those type of things, that's what you're going to get, is those corners rotated. Typically when that happens, these 2 guys have some kind of deep half responsibility of some sort. All right, so we're going to go through them, and I'm going to break them down by philosophy. Our man. All right, our first man one is going to be a little bit different than what you. So the first one's going to be our 0 high stuff. All right, for 0 high, the only one in 0 high that you're going to have is blitz coverage. All right. So this is where those terms are going to start that you're not that I don't expect you to know. Okay. So the first one is you're going to have no middle of the field player. All right. So obviously no middle of the field player. That's what MOF is going to be abbreviated so we have room. Okay. And no rat. All right. And like we said, this is one of the few ones that can rotate either. This is the only one that's going to rotate strong and or weak depending on what the call is. Okay. Because it's blitz coverage. So everybody's man to man. It's what a lot of people consider man blitz. We're not switching stuff off. You have a man, you're stuck to that man. That is your man for the whole down. Typically, it's going to be accompanied by 6-man pressures, 7-man pressures, green dogs, if you know, things of that nature. So that's the 0 high one. All right, so here are our 1 high man coverage families. Okay, the first one is cover 0. So I don't want you to get confused. A lot of people say cover 0. You say, Coach, you just went over that. That was the one that was man blitz. We call that blitz coverage, okay? Cover 0 is going to be called cover 0 because it's also a man coverage and we're not man matching it, okay? So for cover 0, we're going to rotate strong. So go back to what we just talked about. If you need to, rewind the video where it's a strong rotation into the strength, okay? It's a man, like we said up here, and it's got a middle of the field player. So the last one we said no middle of the field player. This one's a middle of the field player. So all middle of the field player is exactly what it sounds like. You have a guy that's in the deep third or in between the hashes of the field. And we'll cover that at length, what that player is going to do. But for right now, I just want you to write that. Okay? and there's no rat. So don't, again, you go rat, coach, what's a rat? We're going to get to it, okay? I just want to nail down, because this is to categorize, okay? Once we have the coverage families categorized, you'll be able very quickly to be able to distinguish them, whether you're watching film or you're talking to a coach, you see it at a tournament, you see it at this, that, or the other. You'll be able to very quickly have a language for what you're trying to tell the rest of your staff what coverages you're getting or what coverages you're running, okay? So there's no rat. The other one is cover 90. All right, coach, that's weird. All it is that 9's going to tell that they're running cover 0 with a weak rotation. So cover 0 is strong, so we're going to go weak. We're going to have, just like these two, a middle of the field player, and we're not going to have any rat. All right? All right, so that's all of our mans. We do not have a too-high man coverage. We have a too-high man match, but we do not have a too-high man coverage because we have enough bodies to switch off stuff if we need to. Typically, you're going to run man, and those man answers, those man families, when you don't have a player that you can switch and cut crossers with, okay? Now we're going to cover our man match coverages. All right. We're going to talk our one highs first. Okay. Our first one high man match is going to be cover 1. This is what most people see as cover 1 rat in the hole is what a lot of people call it. All right. So it's a strong rotation. So read back to that strong rotation. You're going to have a middle field player just like cover 0. But this time you're going to have a rat. All right, so don't get too tripped up because we haven't covered what a rat is, but it'll make sense of, you have to have a rat to run man match, other than if you're in a one high scenario. All right, so then we got cover 9, and if you can notice the pattern, cover 0 was that, cover 90 was the opposite of it. So same thing here. So we have a weak rotation. All right, we have a middle of the field player, and we have a rat so that we can play man match coverages. All right, that is all the man match coverages that we have that are one high. Okay, so I'm gonna very quickly go to my 2 highs. Okay, my 2 high man matches are going to be cover 5. All right, cover 5. Which is going to tell you that you have a corner rotation. So again, if you need to, go back. Remember, the 2 corners are going to be my force players, typically in a cover 5 and a cover 2 situations. But they're not, the safeties don't have to rotate. That's why we call them corner rotations. All right, you're going to get a lot of, it's cover 2 man match. So if you kind of have if you have any kind of prerequisite knowledge of what cover 2 is, this is going to be the man match version of it. All right, so it's a type of split safety, which means we can play 2 different coverages inside of that coverage family on the same play, okay? The other one, it's typically halves coverage. All right, the other one is cover 7. Cover 7 is what you hear about when you talk about saving stuff. You know, a lot of this is going to be built off of saving stuff, but there are going to be some adjustments, okay, some things that I've built. All righty. So that's going to be a weak rotation because the weak safety is going to rotate post play. It's split safety, just like cover 5 is. Notice how within the philosophies, there are a lot of similarities. And this is typically quarters. That's what I write for quarters, QTS. Okay, that's our quarters. If you don't have any knowledge of what quarters is, it's perfect. You're in the right spot. If you do, you're also in the right spot because we're going to really break it down. Okay, so that's the two high man match coverages. All right. Not zone matches, so we're spot dropping. We're playing everything top down. We're looking at the quarterback. Our one high zones are going to be cover 3C and cover 6C. All they're saying, so cover 3 is going to tell us that we're rotating to the strength. playing that zone drop. We're playing that zone principles. Okay, it's not a zone match. This is a pure zone. We're dropping to our spot. We're relaying. Okay, we're gonna have a middle of the field player, but we're playing straight zone. Okay. Cover 6 is going to be the reverse. If you remember how 1 and 9 and 0 and 90 were the reverse of each other, it's the same type of pattern. Okay, so weak, middle of the field player. Okay. The other one, those are all 1 highs. All right, our 2 high coverages are going to be cover. This is zone. Make sure you remember this is zone coverages. 2C is going to tell us that we're corner rotated. And we're playing that spot drop zone stuff, okay? And then cover 4, which is a weak rotation, spot drop, a weak rotation, spot drop quarters. Our cover 3. It's gonna be the first one. It's exactly the same as cover 3C, except now we're going to zone match it. Okay, so we're going to play top down. We're relating to our zone, but once we get to our zone, we're relating to a player. Okay? So it's a strong rotation, just like 3C was. You're going to have a middle field player, and it's a zone match. That's the key. It's a zone match. All right? All right, if you've been paying attention, you obviously know that cover 6 is going to be the opposite of that. So it's a weak rotation, middle of the field player, and it's a zone match. Make sure we indicate that it's a zone match. Okay, that's the 2, that's it, that's the only 2. If you notice how once we break them down into 1 high, 2 high zone match, or whatever philosophy they are, they can really get down to a really small, minute criteria. All right, finally our zone match, 2 highs, okay? We have cover 2, which is just like 2C, except we're going to match depending on what comes into our zone. We're going to play zone match principles with cover 2. So it's corner rotated, and it's a split safety. Again, meaning split safety means we can play 2 different coverages inside the family on 1 play. All right, we have cover 8. Cover 8 is going to be the sister coverage of cover 7. So cover 7 was a man match quarters. This is going to be our zone match quarters. This is typically played so you can play zone match quarters on one side and then play a cover 2 philosophy on the other side. Okay? So it's a weak rotation typically. This one can change depending on if you want to run those weak corner rotations, but they're going to rotate weak. All right, and it's a split safety as well. Do not get bogged down with what all the numbers of coverage, the iterations, okay? They're all going to be broken down very to the very core of what each of them are. But we have to be able to categorize them so that when I come up with somebody, I can say, cover 8, is this, that, and the other. You understand where we're talking about. And if we're watching film, we can very easily break down to other coaches and to our staff members what we're getting. So with that said, we're going to have Coach outro us here.
Well, guys, that was it for this episode now. Like he said earlier, this part is also obviously another part to it. And if you did not watch that part, please, I beg you, go back and watch that first.
Put it right back down again so that you can click on it.
All right, click on it there and go back and watch it. And then what's next? What
the next one we're going to do we're going to do actually landmarks on the field. We're going to cover landmarks.
That's a good one, I promise you. All right, guys. Hey, remember, follow us on Twitter at First Gen Coach. That's the number 1. ST, I struggle, we'll get it right. GN Coach. Follow myself at Coach W Stock. Guys, we appreciate you for watching. Remember, we're here to help you. You're here to help us. Comments, anything you want to know, any questions about it, feel free to DM us at anywhere, and we will answer it for you. We appreciate you guys so much. Peace.